This is Chris Grabowski recording for the Mystic Place blog and podcast. On Saturday, October 8th, 2011, at 4 p.m., there was a panel at the Star Wars Fan Days convention that I attended. It was a question and answer session with Billy D. Williams, a.k.a. Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars universe. But he talks more about his other achievements other than Star Wars, although some Star Wars stuff is put in. We were told we could record this, and we were also told we could post it online. So enjoy.
Are you guys all okay sitting over here? Does anyone want to move up? Are everybody happy where they're sitting? Yeah? Is everybody alive? Cool. So, what's that? Oh, you don't have to listen to me. Cool. Okay. So what I'd like to remind everybody is to make sure you put your thinking caps on, right? The man that we're going to bring out here has been in the business for over 50 years. He's done a lot more than just Star Wars, although I know that's why we're here today. It's fine. But we want to avoid questions like, what was it like to work with George Lucas? Because he's not going to say he was a jerk. Because you all have your cameras going for YouTube. So, put your thinking caps on. Ask good questions, fascinating questions. This is your chance to get to know him beyond Star Wars. Or if you've got those diehard Star Wars questions, aside from what color underwear were you wearing 30 years ago, then I'm sure he can answer them for you, okay? So thinking caps on. We've got kids in the audience. Yes, no, maybe? Yes? Kids are welcome to come up and ask questions as well, because usually you guys are the stars of the show. So, and dads or moms out there, if you want to convince your kids to ask your question for you, I bet you would enjoy it a whole lot more. Yes, you can take video the whole time, it's fine. Just make sure that when you put it up on YouTube, you let us know, so we can blast it out for you. And you can take flash photography when he first comes out on stage, but then we ask that you refrain from taking flash throughout, just so it doesn't bother everybody else in the room. Is that okay? And then maybe before he leaves, you can all do it again. I see a few familiar faces. You've already come to say hello to us today, so that's great. Make sure afterwards, if you haven't gotten his autograph yet, you can come see us. He'll be signing again for a few minutes and again tomorrow. Okay? Everybody good with that? Yeah. Everybody, you can say yes again nice and loud. Yeah. See, they expected 2,500 people, and only you guys showed up, so we need to make it feel like there's 2,500 people in the room. Right? All right, so we're going to make it feel like there are 10,000 people in this room by screaming and stomping our feet and clapping our hands as loud as we can for the coolest man in the galaxy, Mr. Billy D. Williams.
After I learn how to pronounce it, I'm going to run for the President of the United States. And destroy this whole yeah. Can you imagine having we've had a couple of presidents who've had senior moments, right? We had one that he went to sleep. He was in Japan. George W. fell asleep.
Yeah. And then didn't Reagan throw up on somebody?
Yeah.
Well, it was George Bush Sr.
George Sr. Who here would vote for Billy D. Williams as president?
You'd be in real trouble.
Sorry, there's a few losers over here that didn't raise their hands. You guys don't know what you're missing. So listen, guys, I'm going to ask some questions as we go, but don't be shy. The second you have a question, like, is this the only mic in the room, boss, back there? He's too busy taking pictures. I see one mic here. Everyone can come up here. and ask your questions, or if you're too far and you just want to raise your hand and scream really loud, we'll repeat the question for you. Okay, so don't be shy, you can start lining up. We'll start with some of Billy's artwork. Most everybody knows him as a Hollywood icon and an actor, but he's been painting for as long as he has been acting. So Billy, I was wondering if you could just share with everybody where you went to school for painting, and share some cool things like the Smithsonian thing and stuff.
Well, I grew up in New York City, and I went to a school called Music and Art High School. My sister and I had a wonderful twin sister who just recently passed away. But Music and Art was like it's one of those specialized schools for gifted people like myself. And I was there as an art major. And from Music and Art, when I graduated from Music and Art, bless you. When I graduated from Music and Art, I got a scholarship to a school called the National Academy of Design for the Fine Arts. National Academy of Design for the Fine Arts. And I spent 2 years under scholarship painting. And I was nominated for a Guggenheim. I was about 18, 19 years old. And I won a Hall Garden, which is sort of comparable to a Guggenheim. And so painting has been very much a part of my life. And I have a painting in the Smithsonian, painting in the Schomburg in New York, the Kansas City Jazz Museum. I got an exhibition going on now, some of my pieces in Toronto, Canada, Ontario. And I've exhibited quite a few years in California, New York, DC, some area of North Carolina, South Carolina. You know, a lot of people don't think about the South as being very sophisticated as far as art is concerned, but it's a lot of real interest in, but even in Arkansas, I was down there, I had an exhibition there. But there's a lot of sophistication in a lot of places, a lot of these places. So anyway, it's been very much a part of my life.
And if you guys want to see some of his artwork, you can go to www.bdw, his initials, Billy D. Williams, bdwworldart.com.
Yeah, and I call my work abstract reality, and what I mean by that, as real as things are, they are as abstract. It gives me a lot of levels to play on. And really, in very simple terms, it's I'm painting what's representational or what's obvious to the eye, but I'm always painting things that allow you as a spectator to bring your own ideas or experience into the subject matter that I've painted. Makes it more fun. It's a kind of a device. But painting and acting is, people ask me all the time about the difference between painting and acting. And really, you know, as an actor, you're painting, but you're using different tools. You're using your body, you're using your voice. As a painter, of course, or as a sculptor, you use all of the tools that are required for painting or sculpturing. But I don't really see a real difference. I mean, it all seems pretty much the same thing. You know, when you're an actor, you're painting a picture, you know, and you're developing a character. You know, I just saw something today on the news, Meryl Streep. Do you like Meryl Streep? She is brilliant. she's gonna play. She just did a movie, I think, where she's playing Margaret Thatcher, Maggie Thatcher, whom I love. And I swear, the woman it's uncanny. She has this great, incredible ability to do accents. And not everybody can do that. You know, I really envy her. I don't usually envy anybody, but I really envy that. I mean, I think that it's such an extraordinary thing. She's amazing. She truly is amazing. Anyway.
It's all good. Would you want to be in a play with Meryl Streep, Billy?
Oh God, I would love to be in a play with Meryl. I'm going to go up and I'm going to do a play next year. Driving Miss Daisy.
What part are you playing?
Miss Daisy.
That'll be next year, starting in September, correct?
Yeah, it's September.
And it's a travel.
That's going to be a real challenge for me because I'm not Southern. I'm from the North. I'm from New York City. So it's going to be a real challenge for me to try to play somebody who's Southern and from that particular era. You know, it's going to be pretty interesting.
And it's a traveling play, right? So some of these
Yeah,
folks
it's going to be in New York, and it's also going to be traveling around. I don't know exactly where it's going to be traveling at, but we'll see.
So you guys will have to pay attention to the website. I'm sure some tour dates will be on there. So you have a question? Yes.
Morning, Miss Daisy.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Zach Turner.
Hi, Zach.
Very nice to meet you. What advice would you give to an aspiring actor trying to get into the field?
Well, I think if you can find places to study, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure there must be workshops here in Atlanta. I mean, we're not
In Texas.
Here in Dallas, Texas. We are Dallas, Texas.
You are a politician.
We're actually in Irving, Texas. But it is Dallas.
Okay, so if you have that, I think that's always a good idea. And certainly, if you can find workshops or theater groups that you can work with, so it'll give you an opportunity to learn how to use your voice and your body, and to develop a technique. That's always a good start, I think. And if you're really serious about it, you just go through all of the ups and downs and all of the traumas, all the pain of trying to be important in this industry.
Thank you.
Very well.
And you could always relocate to Atlanta if it doesn't work out here. What's your name, sir?
Travis Lane.
Travis.
Dr. Travis Lane, the super.
Oh, Doctor, I'm sorry.
Star Wars has inspired so many people. Who inspires you? Who are your heroes?
Well, I have to start with my parents. My mother and my father. My grandmother and my sister. And then my children. And now my grandchildren. But as far as, I mean, there's an awful lot of people I've admired throughout the years, and also have had the opportunity of working with some of the most really extraordinary people as an actor. There are quite a few people.
Thank you.
Let's elaborate on that question, Billy. Who have you not worked with yet that you would like to work with, aside from Meryl Streep?
I don't know.
I'm sorry I asked a tough question. What's your name, sir?
My name is Jim Garris.
Jim.
And first of all, I'd like to thank you for bringing to life one of the coolest cats in the Star Wars universe for all of us. It's a real honor just to to be here and see you. Seeing your performances on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, and I'm curious if there are plans to do more of your commemorative plate spots or anything like that.
They always call me up to do that stuff, and I never know when they're going to. You know, I might be in the middle of the day doing something, and all of a sudden I get a phone call to go over and do one of those spots. You know, I guess.
Is there a particular celebrity item you'd like to see spoofed on there?
No, I don't know. No, not really. I don't really think about it. It's for me. It's just a lot of fun. I treat it like it's just an opportunity to do a little humor, to play around with humor, to find myself in using the whole idea, the whole format. I always refer to him because he's so smart.
Thank you.
The guy, you know what you should do is email the Kimmel Show and tell them you want to see more. Give them suggestions. They listen to fans, they really do.
But I do the, I always do the, I'll even work with Seth Green. And in fact, this week there's a show called Man Up, yeah. And they asked me to come on and do a whole parody on Lando. So that's going to be fun.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Hi, Johnny Salinas.
Johnny.
I was just wondering if there were plans for you to do Two-Face, and did you have any ideas fleshed out for it?
No, I mean, that's over.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you could call Christopher Nolan and tell him to. No. Okay. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
My name is Katie Shields, and I just want to say I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm sure you get that a lot, though. But my question to you is, you've had a lot of great accomplishments, but what do you want to be most remembered for?
You mean as far as being an actor is concerned, or just in general?
Just in general, like with your life and your accomplishments.
Well, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say. Leave that one alone. I don't know. I guess I think the most important thing is to know that you're a pretty good person. You've tried to be an honorable person, a principled person, a person with integrity. I think integrity is really important. I think without integrity, there's something missing.
What's your name, sir?
Albert Hood.
Albert.
So I'm not sure if you already answered this question. I got here a little late. But if George Lucas ever let this iron grip on Star Wars and let somebody else basically direct movies based on what happens after the original trilogy, would you be willing to play any part that's available for that kind of a movie?
Such an old person.
Yes, I know. That's what
I've been creeping around the galaxy. And getting in everybody's way, right?
You'll still be around. Your character will still be around. Would you be willing to play that part if Lucas ever allowed
They
it?
pay me enough money, yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
James Paul Castle Labs. Mr. Williams, thank you for all the
Yeah,
work.
as long as I get a good stunt, man. I'm sorry.
No problem, thank you, sir. Of course, your characters from a lot of different movies that have touched a lot of us here today. When you first did that first Star Wars film in Empire, you already were pretty established as an iconic leading man in films and in the entertainment business, but did it really change a lot of your life in terms of even just going to the grocery store, going out to dinner with your family? Was that unexpected, all of the massive appeal that your new, fan base was?
It's been quite a ride, I must say. But even now, I can't even go to the store without MTV.
TMZ.
TMZ?
That's because I called them when I know you're
Yeah,
going.
TMZ. I can't even go to the grocery store unless they just sneak up on you. But I always have fun with them.
Thank you for being here today with us, sir.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi, my name is Eric Geller. Billy D, I think it was Wizard World Toronto this past summer. Somebody asked you if you were doing any upcoming Star Wars projects. And I think you said wait about a month to hear some news. Is there anything you can tell us about that? We didn't hear anything specific. Are you working on anything for them?
Hold on. You know what? We'll answer that in a few minutes. I'll tell you. Just sit tight. Okay? Now everyone's like, oh my God.
Hi.
Was that? Hold on. Was that your only question? Yes. I didn't mean to cut you off. You can ask another one if you want.
You didn't mean to cut him off. You did cut him off. The man didn't even get a chance to ask. Get an answer.
I know what he wanted to
Oh my
ask.
God. Gee whiz. Derek?
He can meet me in the lobby later and kick the whatever. I'm sorry. Yes, I won't cut you off. What's your name?
Thank you very much for not cutting me off. Hi, my name is Prasid Ramsden. Mr. Williams, it's a pleasure to be here and for you to spend some time with us. You mentioned about the driving Daisy next year. That was played by Morgan Freeman as the driver. If you look back in maybe the last 10...
James Earl, he just got through playing it on stage with a wonderful actress, Redgrave, Vanessa
Redgrave. Okay. My question is, if you look back over maybe like the last 10 or 15 years of mainstream cinema, which would be some of the movies that you looked at and said, I could have played that role? Or what would have been a Billy D, a movie Billy D. Williams would have acted in the last 10 or 15 years?
Well, I tried to play Duke Ellington. I tried to get that off. For years, I tried to get that one off the ground. I always wanted to. I even tried to get to do Alexander Dumas. A lot of people don't know that Dumas was a mulatto, and I always wanted to, based on a book called The King of Paris, and that's a fascinating character. There are a number of characters I tried to do over the years, but I didn't have any luck doing it. Of course, I wanted to play Two-Face, but that didn't work out.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Katie Miller, and we're all so glad that you could be here, Mr. Williams. Thank you so much. And I was wondering if you had a favorite role that you had played in the film industry.
Well, Brian's song, Gail Sayers. Those characters that I played with Diana Ross, Lady Sings the Blues, Mahogany, and I always enjoyed I enjoyed that experience, the bingo long traveling all stars of Motor Kings, and I don't know, there were quite a things. A lot of things I've done on stage. I played Martin Luther King many years ago on stage in New York. I don't know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, sir. My name is Yvonne Hernandez, and Mr. Williams, I was about to mention the movie Mahogany when my daughter fell in love with you as Lando. She's only 16, just turned 17. And, oh, Lando Larry's, he's so cool, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, baby, you have no idea. He's been cool for many years. You are just so awesome, Mr. Williams. Thank you for coming. And thank you for going to El Paso, Texas also.
Well, I enjoyed El Paso, that great food down there.
They sure do.
Yeah. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. Can you do it?
Just talk really loud.
Just pull the top down.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
What's your name?
Joshua.
Hi, Joshua.
How was it like working?
Are you having a senior moment?
No.
I sure hope not. Not yet.
How was it like working on set with Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford?
Oh, I had a good time. I really had a wonderful time. We all had a very good relationship.
Are you still in touch with them?
No, I see them every now and again. I run into them. If we're for one reason or another.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll tell them you said hi.
Earlier, the guy asked about Two-Face, and then you just mentioned it, or it was asked again, like a role that you wanted to do. Can you kind of expand on like what happened with that, as far as why you didn't end up playing him in the third movie? Because I've always been kind of like, man, he got the shaft on that. Why did they not let him be Two-Face?
Well, they had changed hands.
Right.
At that point. So I think it was sold to Sony, I believe. And they had different ideas about the direction they wanted to take. So that's as simple as that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, we actors always get the shaft. We get used to it. We even stop loving it, I guess.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Uh-oh.
How did you make the when it was your first day making Star Wars? How did you make the Star Wars? How did you make it?
We want a day-by-day account.
Okay.
You kind of got to answer his question.
No, I don't know what it is that...
He's asking you basically what it was like to make Empire. Like, do you remember your first day on set?
I was nervous, but it was interesting. I had a really interesting time. I mean, when you see all the stuff that they put together, you know, the Millennium Falcon and all the stuff that they had on the different sets, because we shot all of it in England. I spent, I think, for both movies, I spent 4 months first for Empire, and then I think for Revenge of the Jedi we spent about 5 months.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who was that gentleman that I cut off? Sorry. Yeah, Zach. Is it Zach?
Eric Geller.
Oh my God, you all know him. Great. I'm in a lot of trouble. We don't have an answer yet. So, what did we tell you in Toronto? What did we say? To what? We lied. We lied. Yeah, sorry. Just keep watching StarWars.com, IMDb.com, all of that. Sorry about that. Yes, sir. Sorry. I didn't cut you off. I was actually interjecting.
That's fine.
What's your name?
My name's Nathan Setzer. Just wanted to, we talked earlier, politics came up when you came out, you were joking about politics. Being from New York, I was wondering what your stance on the whole Occupy Wall Street is.
Well, you know, I was just thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, you know, we've obviously reached a juncture, a place where there's a lot of, everybody's confused. Nobody quite knows what's going on. You know, politicians are busy playing their games, and with the election coming up and everything. And I think that somehow they don't hear the rest of us, the mainstream. And they don't hear our pleas, they don't hear our cries. And at some point, you know, people are bound to get fed up for one reason or another. And demonstrate their lack of really understanding what is really going on. I think that we're all really kind of confused and can't quite figure out what to do. I guess the only thing to do is to join together as a force and make.
Want to say form a rebellion?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's rebellion. It's only natural for people to want to know what's going on. Everybody's in trouble right now. People are having problems right now. But it's so complicated, the whole situation. I mean, I'm just, one can only, well, I don't know. It's a big question.
Well, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
What's your name, sir?
Jazz. I've got to say, except for my family, I've got two great things in life. One is Star Wars, which you were an integral part, and the second, you've also been a very great part in. And let's put it like this: are you going to be doing any more Colt 45 commercials?
No. I did a little bit of that about a year ago, or a couple of years ago.
Do more.
That was it.
You need to contact Colt 45. I have their address if you come see me.
Hi, Mr. Williams. My name is Roy Garza, and I know you've had a great career in many defining roles. What's been a major, what's been like the thing that defines you in your personal life, like the most defining moment ever?
I think I've managed to be a good actor. I've managed to take my craft seriously. And I think for me it's important to as a part of my legacy, to be recognized for my ability as a performer, as a painter. My life has revolved around the arts, so I always wanted to make the best of that and to be recognized for what I've contributed along those lines.
Thank you.
My name is Brian. I think it's safe to say that you're the coolest man at this entire convention today. And there might be some of us that need some help. Do you have any advice on being cool?
I'll tell you, one of my favorite actors of all time was, I don't know if you know who he is, Marcello Mastroianni. I always liked him because he was an attractive man, but had a certain kind of appeal, But he was always in a dilemma, and I always kind of feel like I'm in a dilemma most of the time, and I think. That kind of creates a kind of vulnerability. And I think if men are not afraid to show their vulnerability, I think that kind of contributes to a kind of, if you want to call it coolness, I don't know. I don't really call it cool so much as just naive.
Thank you.
Billy, what do you perform better, acting, television, film, or stage?
I like it all. I like television, I like film, and I like stage. I just, To me, it doesn't make any difference as long as you're busy and you're really creating. You're in the act of putting ideas together. It doesn't matter where it's being done, whether it be television or movies or on stage. But just having the opportunity to exercise your ability, or your creative energy, is most important, it seems to me.
In any of those, what would be the most difficult? The audition process, memorizing your lines, hitting your marks? Like, what's the challenge in your day-to-day life as an actor when you work?
Of course, everybody's different,
Yes, but I want to know about you, not everybody.
Okay, specifically, for me, I don't know, I sometimes I get distracted maybe, and that can be a problem. I don't know, I don't really know how to answer that, to tell you the truth. I mean, it could be a number of things. Depending on what I'm doing, what the project is, what the subject matter is, how much research I have to do. Depends on the kind of writing that you're confronted with. Which means that the author is giving you everything you need, so it makes it much easier for you. Or then you run into situations where you have to find you have to fill in the spaces. So it's all a challenge.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Richard. Willie, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you. I got a question. Obviously everybody's here for Star Wars, and it's just considered I guess, anymore classic American films. There's some other films you've been in, like Mahogany or whatnot. What are some of your favorite classic films that you have that you'd like to stay up late and watch if they were on TV?
Well, I like those old movies. Any movie with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Movies with Irene Dunn and Melvin Douglas, all those sophisticated comedies. I used to love all that stuff. Any movie with Brando in it, On the Waterfront, that was one of my favorite movies. And of course, the movies that Orson Welles did back in those years.
Thank you. Good question. Get to know. That's good. What's your name, sir?
Hi, my name is Chris Luby, and we've heard a lot about your art and your movies and your plays, but you've left out a really important part. And I think that no one has asked you any questions about your music. And Jimmy Mack from the Force Cast has shared some of your songs with us from Let's Misbehave. And it's out of print, and I can't find a copy. Is there any chance it can get on iTunes or CDs? The only thing that's on iTunes right now from you is, I believe, a soundtrack from Lady Sings the Blues, I believe.
Well, my music, when I did that album, that was back in 1961, and I was doing a play on Broadway, A Taste of Honey. I don't know if you know the song, A Taste of Honey, but it was written for me, for the stage. I was on the stage with Laurence Olivier's wife, with Joan Plowright, and Angela Lansbury, and Nigel Davenport, and Andy Ray. And that was a wonderful play. But I was asked, Prestige label was starting a whole new series called Lively Arts Series. And they came to me and asked me if I wanted to record, and I said, yeah, okay, let's school. I was just a kid. And although I had very little experience, my mom studied opera for many years, and her brother, my uncle Bill, he was a classical musician. Went off to Europe to study opera for many years. And so I studied a little bit, and I was in a musical when I was 6.5 years old. A musical written by Kurt Weill, who wrote with Bertolt Brecht, called The Firebrand of Florence. But I had very limited, experience in music, but I always entertained the idea of wanting to really explore more. But I have such a tremendous respect for people who are really good at it that I just never really felt had the necessary confidence. Although I'm starting to work with some guys right now on because I've been wanting to do a romantic CD, a CD of romantic music.
That'd be smooth.
Yeah, so we'll see where that all goes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
What you need to try to do, sir, is contact iTunes and tell them you want it. No, seriously, I mean, that's always my answer for when you guys want stuff, but it's the truth. If it's not something that's here and now, the only way you can get them to do it is if enough of you write in.
It's very clear our love is here to stay. Not forever, but every day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, and in time may go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble. They're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. Yeah.
See him at the end of the show because he wants to download it to his iTunes. There was a guy who had Billy's album that got it autographed today in the audience. You could show it to everybody. No, oh well. There was actually a guy that came up today. It's real hard to find, but he had the actual vinyl. It was cool. All right, last question of the day. The pressure is on. Please don't stop.
All right, I'll try not to. All right. I'm glad someone asked that question before because I wanted to ask that question in another one, so I'm glad someone took care of that already. But I'm a painter too, and I was just curious who your artistic influences are and what's your favorite type of paint to use.
Well, I studied art and studied art history, so spent a lot of time in those museums. I was always a fan of what they call chiaroscuro school of painting, playing with light and dark. The Dutch masters, and Velasquez, and Velasquez. I used to have a love affair with his paintings. But I always loved the Mexican murals, like Sigueros, Rivera, Orozco, and a lot of African art. I've seen particularly Northern African art. Certainly, a lot of the painters that came out who were here in the United States, like Robert Hart Benton, but a lot of people that I've enjoyed over the years and steal from.
Yeah, thanks.
So guys, if you have a Twitter account and you'd like to follow Mr. Williams, his Twitter name is RealBDW. So if you guys want to follow him, you can get updates, which is pretty cool. They've asked me to remind everybody to make sure you go spend all your money at the dealer's room. You can come back to Mr. Williams' room and spend money there. There's other celebrities as well. So Thank you all for coming, and make him feel the love, Billy D. Williams!
Thank you for having me.
Hi there, my name is Joey.
And my name is Kimberly.
Thanks for listening to the Mystic Place blog and podcast. We hope you have enjoyed this episode.
Joey.
Yes, Kimberly.
It is my turn to talk.
Okay.
Thanks, Joey.
No problem.
If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to send an email to chris@mysticplace.org. That's ChrisAtMySTICPLACE.org.
You can visit the blog at www.mysticplace.info. Have a nice day.
Take care.